Now we have three presentations. We'll spend about 15 minutes per presentation. The presentation are from academia. We'll start with our first presenter from the University of Trento in Italy. And the title of the presentation is Opening Up Higher Education, a Case Study. That's the second one. Which one is the first one?
Second one. This one you give?
No. Give me. I put it here. I don't know.
There's so many folders. Which one is
yeah, that one. Okay, thank you. Good morning to everybody, and let me thank you, the organizers, for allowing me to share with you my work, and thank you to you for your presence. So what I will present is a case study on opening up education, and what I will talk about will be the need for renewing higher education. I will then present a strategy for opening up education. I will present the specific case of what we have done at the University of Trento at the Department of Psychology and Cognitive Science, and then I will draw some conclusions. And let me frame my presentation. I'm talking about Italy and the situation over there, in which university are public university, and most of them, and so there are a lot of legislative rules that apply to universities. Now, as we see, challenges for higher education are really several. There is inclusion. We should act to prevent dropouts, people enrolling and then going out of the university, and we should act to have more people graduating from universities. There is an issue of effectiveness that is closer ties to the job market and society at large, in order to provide our students with effective tools to go into the job market. Efficiency, that is facilitating access to educational programs through the use of technology, ICT, and quality, with an issue with quality of teaching and quality of research. Meeting these challenges implies in-depth changes in universities as institutions, and we think that the use of ICT may help this change, provided that universities are already part of societal changes. As we see it, while society change in a very fast way, universities are changing very slowly, and this provide a gap between the two. As the European Commission has recently said, all educational institutions need to improve their capacity to adapt, promote innovation, and exploit the potential of technologies and digital content. Now, in a very summarized and oversimplified way, we can see the transition from tradition to new psychological way of thinking about education, higher education, as a way of changing teachers from sage on the stage to orchestra director, pedagogical practice and way of learning, that is individual from individual assignments on given context to open knowledge and flexible social networking, as institution from campus to a situation where there are no local and institutional barriers, and from the student's point of view, from having a passive role to being involved in co-creation of contents. Of course, according to the capacity and the knowledge already available, so that individual mind are able to appreciate contents. It's not that content is created anew every time. One way to go for renewing higher education is to try to go on the way of opening up education. That is a process of knowledge sharing based on the advances of educational technologies that could encompass better use of resources, more inclusive educational models, more direct connection with the labor market, and it will be a way to facilitate lifelong learning. Now, lifelong learning can be thought of both at the professional development level and the cultural, personal way of being open to new input and acquisition of new knowledge. I think this is a shared enterprise with society at large, so that different industries or the private sector may also provide lifelong learning. I think that the university also should really work on that. Now, there are already available different perspectives on opening up universities. So there is open educational resources since 2002. There are open educational practice since 2010. There is the MOOCs, massive open line courses. And about this, I would like to stress that one of the positive features of MOOCs is that it provides interactive user forums that help build a community for students, professors and teaching assistants and other persons involved. So that from this point of view, it's not that I have knowledge and I put it on the web, everything is available. You really need to have community of practice. You have a pedagogical approach to exploit information that is available. So opening up education, according to us, would need to merge technological advances and pedagogical means to really being able to exploit such information on the web. And as I said, Europe, the European community is very keen on this issue, and it has opened a portal recently on Open Education Europe that would provide a means for going towards this direction. Now, as I said, pedagogical practice based on the principle of openness should allow, according to us, learning environments that can be easily connected to world market and societies as authentic spaces for learning, learning experiences that promote digital skills as part of the new literacy for the 21st century, and in Europe it will be key competencies for lifelong learning as indexes for general learning, and the Dublin descriptor for higher education. Personalization of learning, due to the flexible access to resources and communication, taking into account individual differences, differences in the background of knowledge available, and differences at both the cognitive and affective level. Will allow fluid, ubiquitous participation and engagement in new forms of learning. For example, it may really exploit peer-to-peer learning and other type of learning that in the classroom, in the traditional classroom, is not available. And it would allow quality teaching and learning, that is, access to and visibility focus on the quality of content, better documentation of communication and interaction, and easier analysis and evaluation of pedagogical practice. We will go back to this evaluation phase because I think it's really important. Now, in spite of a lot of research from the educational point of view that shows that the unidirectional traditional way of doing of teaching in higher education is not functioning, is frustrating for many students. It's the cause of many dropouts. It doesn't really help students bring out their talent, their capacities. Well, in spite of this, tradition remains, and the obstacles are probably present at different level. The institutional strategies tend to oppose openness to education that ICT provides. In higher education, factors such as inflexible funding and governance structures, compounded by restriction on budgetary resources, inhibit changes. The teaching culture and the assumption that the education process do not require specific attention are another crucial problem. Opening up education requires rethinking the pedagogical practices, and this is demanding and costly. Strategic, consensual, and gradual changes take time, but the alternative is not viable. But these are seen as factors that may work against opening up education. So what we try to advocate is that the passage from being outsiders of quality teaching to become an insider. Now, I will briefly present our experience. That's the case of DIPSCO, the Department of Psychology and Cognitive Science in Italy, up north, near the border with Austria, is the University of Trento. All of you are invited to visit when you can. We will be happy to have you there. And what we have done was, starting from actually 2000, in small steps, launching a space for research on e-learning, Labindia, Laboratory for Innovation in Academic Teaching, and then we were able to create the initial structure to promote e-learning. So there was the Center for e-learning in operational terms, and that was established at the level of university. And we were able to generate a space for dialogue on the negotiation of pedagogical practice to support academics to move from traditional to innovative practice. Also, because one of the key factors is, of course, motivation of and familiarity with ICT on the part of the teachers. If they are not motivated, they are not familiar, then we are really not talking about anything. The framework for openness is knowledge about Let me just keep this in sake of time, and the framework will be knowledge on openness to conceptualize openness as a progressive, gradual strategy with impact at micro, pedagogical practice, meso, communities of practice, and macro level, institution and business. Experiences for openness leading to the production of open educational resources and their flexible integration, evaluation of openness to promote discussion about the key dimension, processes and tools to support an open learning culture, and innovation for openness to provide support to a process of continuing development of the open teaching and learning strategies. And we have conceptualized this in two steps. The first step, based on already existing resources, is generation of web spaces and communities of practice that support information about the policy context and the research outcomes in the field of open teaching and learning, and specific tools for self-evaluation made available on the web. And the second step is looking at the future of the establishment of an observatory on learning and teaching practice informing ongoing changes, professional development for academic based on research, on pedagogical practice, in order to help the initial training of people entering universities as teachers, the professional development as communities of practice, to support pilots, and to reward excellence in open educational practice. So, just to conclude, the university as institution has moved from providing education to the elites to education or instructing masses of professionals for the knowledge society. As a result, the university struggles today to find its own space, balancing autonomy in research and teaching, promoting sustainable business models, increasing participation of students, and improving the quality of the education delivered. Our claim is that opening up education can be assumed as a via maestra to generate institutional innovation, resulting in more integrated and sustainable higher education institutions. And I'd like to thank you about that.